conventional questions?
A lot of the times you see this where agents get a letter that shows that their buyers are pre-approved.
Mm-hmm.
And it's always for the exact amount of the offer.
Mm-hmm.
And is that something that mortgage guys tell realtors, hey, we'll do it for this amount, so then the seller only thinks that you qualify for that, or just
No, I would say on the contrary.
realtors
On the contrary, I have realtors who request an exact amount on a pre-approval, and I don't really see the value in it. I don't think the listing agent is getting that going, well, we can't negotiate any higher because it's only approved for $189,500.
Right. That's typically what you
Right.
see that, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And to me, I think that seems short-sighted. It's like, well, it means that your buyer can't buy my house if they can't buy it for that particular price. Why do I want to negotiate with them? I can't. They only qualify for a certain amount. You might want to
Well, it's very.
go get a better pre-approval letter.
I don't think there's really any listing agent that looks at it and say, well, they're not qualified for a nickel more.
Right.
Yeah, but then on the other hand, like I got one that he had $2 million, and you're thinking, woohoo,
He can go up.
he can go up.
Right.
So,
So what's your advice to that? Because I'm working with somebody that doesn't want to get a pre-approval letter for the amount that he's approved at, because he doesn't want to pay more for a home than,
right.
he wants to come in and get something.
But he doesn't have to pay anymore.
But he doesn't want that letter to be given to the.
Well,
Yeah,
why
because
now?
we-
Ask the question: who would you rather sell your home to? Somebody that can qualify for buying your home, or somebody who's just borderline that can buy your home? I mean, think about it from the other person's perspective, and put your feet in their shoes, and you're sitting there, and you have maybe two offers. You got one guy that can qualify for more, and this other one. He only can qualify for X amount if that pre-approval letter is correct. So I think it puts them, if you look at it, it's not in the customer's best interest. It's our responsibility to talk to that client, that buyer or seller, about that pre-approval letter. And this is what they say they're pre-approved for. Are they approved for any? Could they get approved for any more? Well, based upon this letter, you don't really know. They can only be approved for this amount. And you've got somebody else that maybe they have a higher amount that they're approved for. If I'm the seller, I'm about to sell my house to somebody, and I got two offers coming in at me, and I got one guy states that he can qualify for even more house. That's the guy I'm talking to. I'm not talking to this guy that's coming in. Hey, this is all I got. I'm less likely to work with him.
Question: they're going to get my house is going up for sale. So if they get an appraisal and they come in and they don't want to say they can qualify for more, what do I do? As the seller's point, saying if we're going to ask this much and they're going to want to come in lower and say that they obviously it's what the bank's going to loan.
Yeah. Well.
What do you do?
Well.
I mean, how do you know who can qualify for more? Or do you? Do they honestly have to?
Well, you need to, if they're going to say they're going to buy your house and they're writing down terms, then they have to qualify for those terms, or you need to. If they don't, then you don't want to sign the agreement with them, because all you're doing is the financing addendum is a contingency. They don't get their financing, they don't buy the house, they get their earnest money deposit back. So you have to make sure that that the people are pre-approved and they got the money that they say, or you don't negotiate with them, because you're negotiating with a maybe, not a for sure thing.
I mean, a telltale sign is on a pre-approval letter. Is it the exact amount they're offering?
That's what I'm asking.
Yeah, I mean,
Or
if
what
it
they're
is,
trying to come in lower, and so I don't have-
it's a negotiating ploy.
Okay.
Nine
Obviously,
times.
somebody wanted to
Yeah,
pay
nine times
less.
out of 100, if it's the exact amount they come in and offer. I mean, if they send you an offer, written offer for $189,950 with a pre-approval letter for $189,950.
Yeah.
That's just a negotiating ploy.
And
that's,
so when
that's saying hey, that's the most they're qualified. Their agent is thinking that if they send that you're going to get in your mind, that's the most they can qualify for.
So it'll come
And
down
so
in price?
you better accept it. Kind of deal. You can't come
Yeah,
back.
that's exactly what they're doing, but so if you do counter a person like that, you guys say in the counter, update the pre-approval letter showing that the buyer can qualify for for the terms of the agreement. So it seems to me like extra work.
It's a game.
It's
It's
really,
a game.
it's really
It's a
difficult to
game.
get somebody
Oh.
qualified for an exact purchase amount. The reason being is, I mean, if they go out and they're buying an older house, the insurance is gonna be $60 more a month. Something like that. I mean, are they buying a house that's, where the taxes are, you know, $75 higher a month than another $190,000 house? You know, we've got to estimate on taxes and insurance when we pre-approve somebody, when we run it through the system. Okay, it's total payment. Okay, so somebody who could qualify for 190, well, if they find a house that has less taxes and insurance, then they can qualify for a $205,000 house with the same payment. Okay, so it's difficult to actually pin down an actual purchase price somebody can qualify for. I mean, they're going to have to tell me the exact taxes and insurance is going to be for me to know for sure.
And it is pre-approval, it's not pre-qualified, so you kind of, there's a difference, right?
Well, you know, in all my years, I really haven't been able to determine exactly what the difference is because either
Really?
one is very fluid. I mean, they can be pre-approved and then lose their job. They can be
Right.
pre-approved and then
True.
spend the down payment. They can be pre-approved and go to Nebraska Furniture Mart and open an account and not be approved anymore.
Gotcha.
So there's a lot of things that can happen between A and B. So,
That's one of the things that as a realtor, when you're working with somebody and you hear them talking about going shopping and all that kind of stuff, they go look for a car. You need to educate them that
they need to have a conversation
buy
with me
your
or
house
buy a thing.
first.
Yeah.
Then you can go and buy these other things. But I've had that happen where, I mean, it didn't happen to me, but it happened to somebody I knew where the people were going to buy a house and then they went out and bought a car and furniture for the freaking house and then they ended up not being able to buy the house.
I've heard of that happening too.
It
yeah,
is
just
happening.
purchased a car and then they had too much debt to income ratio.
Yeah, so they couldn't close on their house, which is crazy. Now, from a compliance standpoint, with the convention, with any loan, we always want the buyer or the agent who's working with the buyer. They have to fill out a buyer's estimated closing cost sheet or a good faith, which is usually provided by the lender. Now, when you do that, you know, we have our additional brokerage fee that we charge. It's in the buyer's agency agreement. That has to be on your buyer's estimated closing costs. And if you don't do one, then it has to be on the lender's good faith estimate. So you have to remember that, so that if you're charging them a fee, that fee has to be on either that buyer's estimated closing cost sheet, or it's got to be on the good faith. Everybody understands that? Okay, very good. Yes, Teresa.
Just sort of play devil's advocate here. In my mind, it's almost more important that the lender my client is using is a recognizable bona fide lender than anything else. I mean, the last thing I want to see if contracts come into me on a listing of mine is a lender on one of them that is somebody I've never heard of. God forbid it's an online kind of thing. And I still, and I'm not trying to be belligerent about this, but if a seller sees that I'm just not clear on this. I mean, I'm ambivalent about whether if the seller sees that the buyer is underwritten by a recognizable, a really bona fide, everybody knows they're golden if they've gone through this lender, and it's written at such an amount, but I'm not having a hard time doing this. If they know that the buyer can spend more, but doesn't